Hey, hey, hey. Happy Wednesday. Come on in, pull up a chair. The Gaming Gang Dispatch is in the air. Howdy, gang, and welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host here at the Gaming Gang Dispatch, brought to you by, interestingly enough, gaminggang.com, of which I happen to be the founder and editor-in-chief. So welcome aboard, everyone. Tonight is Wednesday, August 20th, 2025. This is live stream 1225. Yikes. If you're not overly familiar with the show, let me point out it's super casual around here, just hanging out, talking about the latest in tabletop gaming news, and then normally we'll take a first look at a game. Might unbox a board game. More often than not, we'll actually take a peek at a role-playing game release. Every once in a while, I'll just tackle a topic, or even just do the tabletop gaming news and chew the fat with chat. But tonight, I am going to be unboxing and taking a first look at Fateforge. This box is heavy. Chronicles of Kaan from Mighty Boards. Yes, this is a hefty box here. And this is a fantasy board game. It's supposed to provide, from my understanding, a bit of a role-playing experience by way of being a board game. So we will find out. We'll be diving on in just a little bit. But of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more you are not going to find here on YouTube. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. And then, of course, this is a live show, so that means there is chat available. Now, you must be a subscriber to the channel for at least an hour before you can take part in chat. It's one of the ways, actually the main way, I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. But if you happen to check that box, be a subscriber for over an hour and want to say howdy, maybe you got a question, a comment, by all means, chime in. We'll do my absolute best to respond. First out the gate tonight is Sarah D saying hello to the gang, followed by the Madman. So both of our chat moderators chiming on in to say howdy right off the bat. We also have Sean O'Donnell, Semper Buffo, W Forge, and Testy Trekkie with us in chat. Mike is popping on in. Testy Trekkie says, yo, it's hamster time. Okay. Like, I don't know what that means. Hopefully no small rodents will be injured in the process. No small rodents were harmed during the processing of this program. I don't have any small animals like that. I just have cats. All right. Sean O'Donnell says, TT is hungry. Chris Lundgren's popping on in with Buddy and I believe his wife, Louisa. And everybody's on the mend. I guess everybody, I don't think Buddy had it, but Chris and his wife had COVID. So hopefully everything is going well there. Mike says, rodents of unusual size. Right. Lord Cots 2000 is chiming on in. So chat is off and running. So let's move right on into the news, because now in stores from Troll Lord Games is the Castles and Crusades starter set. Here's the lowdown. In your hands, you will hold the very font of imagination, where all things can become real. Play as mighty warriors and weavers of powerful spells. Face off against terrible dragons, giants, and monsters of lore. Win gold and glory, or die trying. Castles and Crusades, the best in fantasy gaming, is finally available in an introductory box set. Within the box, you'll find 3 booklets specifically designed to help new players learn what a role-playing game is, how to play, and how to use Castles and Crusades to bring to life exciting adventures for you and your friends and family. You'll learn how to create scenarios, people them with monsters, and how to create characters to embark on unforgettable stories of high adventure. Book 1 is character creation. It's all about players. Includes an immersive and detailed example of play where you get to join the fray without having to know anything in advance. It also teaches how to generate a character, how to inhabit the role of that character, how to equip, create descriptions, and use that character's abilities. With these rules, a character can be taken all the way from 1st to 6th level. Yes, you heard that right. 6th level. Most starter sets get to it about 3rd, catch off about 3rd level. Booklet 2, directing the game, is all about the Castle Keeper, the world builder. The Castle Keeper acts as the game's referee, and in directing the game, you learn how to run the game, how to build your own fantasy world, and how to handle any situation. And then there's book 3, Into the Dark, which is the final booklet, and it's a full-blown adventure where the players test their mettle against the hideous giant and his goblin minions, and a quest absolutely bursting at the seams with opportunities for new ideas and scenarios. Into the Dark is designed for 3 to 8 first-level characters. The starter set also includes character sheets where you can track your character's name, statistics, abilities, and equipment, as well as PDF versions of all of those books I've already mentioned. There's even a set of polyhedral dice. The Castles Crusades starter set does carry an MSRP of $29.99. If you want to get it with the PDF, you will have to order from Troll Lord Games. It is $39.99. And if you just want the PDF alone, you can get that for $19.99. Very nice. Very nice. DB's with us in chat. Oh my goodness, did I miss something? Jeff is sharing Troll Lord news. Yes. I have another Troll Lord Games item I will get to after the news. So there is that. I believe we are going to have an opportunity to take a look at this starter set. Yes. So I'm going to take a guess it'll probably be a couple of weeks. But yeah, we're gonna get to take a peek at some of the stuff that's come out recently from Troll Lord Games. And yes, I did chat with Chuck over at Troll Lord Games earlier today. Everything's been ironed out. I shared my thoughts. He shared his thoughts, and everything's cool. Everything is cool. A little misunderstanding, I think, on both sides. So, like I said, everything's cool. So there you go. Right off the bat, you've got a Castles and Crusades news piece. Moving right along, next month should see the release of the Warhammer 40,000 roleplay Imperium Maledictum Inquisition Player's Guide. That's a mouthful. Here's a lowdown from Cubicle 7 Games. Heed the call. Join the holy orders of the God Emperor's Inquisition. The Macarian sector is in peril on all sides and from within. Heretic, demon, and Xenos threaten to destroy what the Emperor and his servant Lord Solar Macarius have built. As the Imperium's forces take to the battlefield, it falls to the holy orders of the Inquisition to wage their own secretive war. Wielding ultimate authority, Inquisitors and their acolytes face corruption and damnation at every turn. They must be exacting and merciless in their vigil to survive and preserve the soul of the Imperium. Though the doom they seek to avert is inevitable, it might yet be delayed, and only the Inquisition can hope to stave off the darkness that threatens to consume the entire galaxy. The Inquisition guides bring the holy orders of the Emperor's Inquisition to life at your game table. This first half of an exciting 2-book set for Warhammer 40,000 Roleplay Imperium Maledictum, the Inquisition Player's Guide lets you craft intimidating Inquisitors and their loyal acolytes and equip them with everything from ominous demon weapons to loyal cyber familiars. Prepare yourself well for the thankless task of facing the enemies of the Imperium, for every assignment might very well be your last. Should you survive, your only reward will be a litany of fresh horrors to face. But if not you, then who? Create Inquisitor patrons from the Ordo Hereticus, Malus, and Xenos, granting them powerful boons and worrisome liabilities. Create your acolyte and outfit them with a host of new war gear, from iconic Inquisition weaponry to subtle tools of espionage, as well as useful skills, cunning talents. I've got a cunning talent, me lord. And devastating psychic powers. Learn about the Inquisition you are bound to serve, its presence in the Macarian sector, and everything a fresh acolyte needs to know to survive long enough to be useful to their Inquisitor. Train your own cyber familiars to aid you in your missions. One is spelled with a C, the other's spelled with a P. Learn to wield your Inquisitor's limitless authority well, as the subtlety mechanic allows players to track and benefit from discreet and clever role-playing. Additional group, individual, and long-term endeavors to aid players in their investigations and prepare them for their next mission. The Inquisition Player's Guide requires the Imperium Maledictum core rulebook in order to play. It brings the focus in on Inquisition-themed adventures, adding new elements to your ongoing campaign or setting you up for a new adventure. The Inquisition's GM Guide will complete the 2-book set. It's the perfect addition for a game master looking to create the ultimate Inquisition campaign. No one expects the Spanish Inquisition. Bring me the comfy chair. This 144-page hardcover with PDF is going to carry an MSRP of $39.99. It is slated to arrive in late September. I do not have an exact date as of yet, but you can grab the PDF right now over at DriveThruRPG for $19.99. Sweet. So now we're going to get the Inquisition brought into the fray for Imperium Maledictum. Quite interesting. I will say I am not the most well-versed with Warhammer 40K. I think I point that out all the time. That's why I probably mispronounced a couple of things in the sell sheet there. But I do think it is a really kind of wild setting. I think it was a bit cooler way back in the day when I actually followed it a bit. I think it was a little more, I don't want to say tongue-in-cheek. I think there was a little more satire. Little bit of satire there that I don't think is present anymore. I think everybody takes Warhammer 40K pretty seriously now. Alrighty then. Moving right along. Bundle of Holding and Gallant Knight Games have joined forces to once again offer the Tiny Dungeon Mega Bundle. Now I've got the deets on the deal. Adventurer. The king-size April 2023 Tiny Dungeon Mega Bundle has been resurrected with many tabletop role-playing games from Gallant Knight Games that use the streamlined, minimalist Tiny D6 rules. These tiny games play fast, have characters you can describe in an index card, and cover a huge range of genres: fantasy, space opera, mecha, post-apocalypse, Wild West, pirates, kaiju monsters, zombies, and mythos horror. Oh, and fishing. Let's not forget fishing. You can mash them all together to play imperious magicians fighting kaiju in an apocalyptic, alien, zombie-haunted Weird West wasteland on a fishing trip. Ideal for convention games, one-shots, and novice role players. The tiny boatload of PDFs in this jumbo bargain-priced revival, intended especially for players new to Tiny D6, once again give you everything you need for every kind of itty-bitty adventure. For a rather small $19.95, you'll get all 13 titles in this revived offer's enormous tiny starter collection, which has retail value of $92, as DRM-free PDFs, including the complete Tiny Dungeon 2nd Edition core rulebook, plus its bestiary deck, treasure deck, and GM screen, the post-apocalyptic Tiny Wastelands, along with its GM screen and Enclave deck, the space opera science fiction role-playing game Tiny Frontiers, Tiny Pirates and its Tiny Pirates Duel deck, and Tiny Gunslingers with its poker deck and the Bounties expansion. And if you pay more than the current threshold price of $35.65, you'll level up and also get this Tiny Revival's colossal Tiny Bonus Collection with 9 more titles worth an additional $88, including Advanced Tiny Dungeon, Tiny Taverns with its Tiny Taverns a la carte expansion, no mention of any tiny dancers, and of course the extremely necessary fishing mini game, Mecha and Monsters Evolved, plus a novella by Brian Young set in that universe, Welcome to Paradise, Tiny Cthulhu, Tiny Spies, and Tiny Living Dead. Quite a lot. Quite a lot. These savings will run through September 8th. I reviewed Tiny Dungeon 2nd Edition a long time ago. In fact, it was a written review. That is the only Tiny D6 game I have ever had an opportunity to take a peek at. I would love an opportunity to check out some of the Tiny D6 games out there. Tiny Cthulhu? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Sounds good to me. But there you go. You get all of this huge deal on Tiny D6 goodness for a pretty small price, I've got to say. All right, let's see what's going on in chat here. Chris Lundgren says they saw the actual box set. The box is nice, dice and such, but they used glue to keep the books together instead of staples. So I believe Chris is talking about the starter set for Castles and Crusades. Funny enough, I know something we'll talk about when we finish up the news here, that you might want to get your hands on this starter set for Castles and Crusades, because it might change for the next print run. I'll tell you about it in just a minute. But still focused on all this goodness from Gallant Knight Games. Very nice. DB says, well-versed with Monty Python, though. That counts in large amounts. Yes. Start busting out the fish slapping. Moving right along. Mongoose Publishing has released the Journal of the Traveler's Aid Society, Volume 13. And I've got the skinny. Welcome to the Journal of the Traveler's Aid Society, your indispensable guide to adventuring in the far future. Each volume is a treasure trove of information and game editions for Traveler, including adventures, new ships, alien creatures from across charted space, philosophical musings on the big empires, histories, different takes on familiar equipment, new vehicles, characters to be met in starports, playable alien races, and much, much more. In Volume 13, you're going to find the Kamsi Solar Race adventure, new aliens, the Mue, some new bestiary entries, the Gunda, Rolonia, and Victorn. There's a guide to fashion in the Imperium, the Fourth Frontier Museum, a location in charted space, a few encounters, the Star Angel Ambulance Pinnacle, as well as Mudoshir. There are high guard entries like stowaways, carpets, and decking. There is alternative skills and two new vehicles, the cargo submarine, which you're actually going to be peeking at right there, as well as the farm crawler and plenty more. There's a lot of stuff I just haven't read because I'd be here for 10 minutes. This 128-page softcover with PDF carries an MSRP of $24.99. If you want to grab just the PDF alone, you can do so. It is available now over at DriveThruRPG for $14.99. In fact, this was a successful Kickstarter for 5 new volumes of the Journal of the Traveler's Aid Society. And I've got to say, the thing I really like about the journal is it is from Mongoose Publishing. So this is all Traveler stuff from Mongoose. Now, that's not to say that people haven't submitted things that have been added into the journal, but this is not a fanzine or anything like that. This is the actual journal that you're looking at. Looks exactly like a Traveler book. Nice. Chris Lundgren says they just don't have enough space for all these PDFs to get lost on their hard drives. They have to stop, but they do see the value. Of course, we're talking about that bundle of holding. All right, on to our final news piece. Currently available in PDF from MT Black is Iskandar Adventures Volume 1 for Dungeons & Dragons, and here's what I know. A collection of scintillating adventures for the world's favorite role-playing game. Unleash the magic of Iskandar. Dive into Iskandar Adventures Volume 1, a riveting collection of role-playing game adventures for the 5th edition of, once again, the world's most popular role-playing game. How many times do you want to say that, for crying out loud? Featuring diverse quests, evocative settings, and epic battles, this book is perfect for enhancing your fantasy campaign. The adventures are set in the richly detailed world of Iskandar, but can be easily adapted to any fantasy game world. Whether you're exploring fantastic locations, unraveling dread secrets, or facing bizarre foes, these adventures promise endless excitement. This collection includes the following Tier 1 adventures. The Ironclad Ogre. Your search for a missing farmer leads to a crumbling tower and an adventure filled with unexpected alliances and hidden plots. Keepers of the Pale Flame. Explore an ancient lighthouse with a grim past where haunting melodies and vile secrets threaten disaster. The Siege of Wolf Hall. Engage in a strategic battle at the formidable Wolf Hall, where courage and wit are key to overcoming a challenging siege. A Taste of Trouble. The head of the Wand and Robe Society is missing. Investigate her enigmatic cottage, where enchantment lurks in every corner and peril comes in an unexpected guise. And then we have, finally, The Whispering Sanctum. Venture into a bastion of ancient wisdom and hidden secrets and discover the startling dangers that accompany the pursuit of enlightenment. This 130-page PDF is available right now over at DriveThruRPG for $9.95. Cool beans. 245 Trioxin is popping on into chat. Sean O'Donnell says they've got a few things by MT Black. Decent enough work for a bootstraps designer. MT Black tends to be very well regarded as far as third-party adventure designers go. So this is a collection of 5 of his previously released tales, all tier 1, so they're all for lower level characters. Very nice. Very cool. So that is it for the news tonight. You may have noticed I mentioned DriveThruRPG a few times. Don't forget, the Gaming Gang, thus the Dispatch, is affiliated with the One Bookshelf sites. So if you are going to swing on over to DriveThruRPG, Storyteller's Vault, Dungeon Masters Guild, Wargame Vault, any of the One Bookshelf sites, please stop by thegaminggang.com first. Click on one of our banners. That way, if you happen to make a purchase, I get 5% of that sale. And all those nickels, dimes, and quarters really do add up and help keep thegaminggang.com around. Also, if you like the video, if you dig the channel, you find the Gaming Gang to be a valuable resource, hell, if you just like what we do, you can support the outlet in a couple of other ways on top of DriveThruRPG and the One Bookshelf sites. First of all, you can make a one-time donation by way of PayPal. Hell, you can buy me a 2-liter bottle of soda. Oh, that's wonderful. Actually, it is, because it's weirdly humid again down here in the Duct Tape Studios. It's been really humid all day in the Chicagoland area. But yeah, usually it's a bit cooler down here, but it's kind of swampy. It's like, So yeah, that hit the spot. So you can make a one-time donation by way of PayPal, or you can become a monthly member of our Patreon. That's right. I like to say hello to all of our patrons from Patreon on every one of my live shows. So big thanks to our $5 tier members, Gustavo Carvalho, Jason Lawman, Caval, Kevin R. Smith, Sean O'Donnell, and Talzek, as well as our $10 members, Matt W., Dan Webb, Game Cat, Pete Strakulich, RPG Munch, Tessie Trekkie, and Tier 2 DM, as well as our $25 tier members, Agile Monk and the Madman. Thank you, everybody. And of course, don't forget, in the show notes, you'll find an invite link to our Discord server. So be sure to hang with the gang over on Discord. Just had somebody ask if I would consider creating a looking for game channel on the Discord server. And I would consider doing that, but I would probably put that in our members only section, which is open to our Patreon members. Now, you don't have to be a member of anything to join our Discord server. Well, I guess become a member of the server, but it doesn't cost anything. But yes, if I did something like that, I would probably make it part of our members only section. Means you have to wear a members only jacket to get into those channels. No, not at all. Anyway, I had mentioned something else about Troll Lord Games. Right now through Friday, so it is through the 22nd. If you order any of the core books for Castles and Crusades, so the Player's Book, the Castle Keeper's Guide, or Monsters and Treasure, you will get, now of course we're talking the physical books, the Codex of Erde, absolutely free. Now, of course, if you get the bundle that includes the 3 main books, you'll also get this absolutely free. This is a $50 book. So just so you know, this is the default setting for Castles and Crusades. So I wanted to mention that because that's kind of a cool deal. And I also want to point out, because I mentioned I talked to Chuck over at Troll Lord Games earlier today. I always make sure to mention that the Castle Keeper's Guide isn't really, they consider it a core book. I don't think it's a core book. There's only 2 books you really need in order to run Castles and Crusades. It's a player book and Monsters and Treasure. That's it. Castle Keeper's Guide is all just optional rules. Now, I'm not saying that there's not a lot of cool stuff in it. There is, but you don't need to have it. So unlike other role-playing games, yes, I'm looking at you, Dungeons & Dragons. You don't need to get that Game Master's book. So there is that. I also want to mention, today is my nephew Cameron's birthday. He is 24 years old as of today. I did not go over to celebrate his birthday because I had a show. And I'm going to swing on over there probably Monday. Probably going to play some stuff. So I'm just going to drop off his stuff. Then he was going to have a bunch of his friends come over. So it would have been just me hanging out with like my brother and my sister-in-law and my parents. So it'd be like, okay. So we got some folks wishing Cameron a happy birthday. Yes. I'm trying to bring him with, at least for a couple of days, to Gamehole Con up in Madison when I go in October. Because I know Elliot won't be able to go all 4 days. So I'm going to look to see if Cameron wants to go up there with me the Thursday and Friday. And then, because I'll probably just use one other pass outside of myself and let him use it. And then Elliot can come up like Friday night, and then he can hang out Saturday, maybe into Sunday. And I'll probably start looking around at some events to get into, to play some stuff. I know, amazing, isn't it? Kind of cool. Kind of cool. I think that was everything I wanted to touch. Oh, no, there was something else I wanted to touch base on. We are going to get an opportunity to take a look at that Dungeons & Dragons starter set. So it is going to be, I double checked with the new PR company, my contact there, and they said, yes, I'm going to get a copy of it. It's probably going out in the second wave, which is fine. That's okay. So I actually reached out because I was like, well, if I have to go buy it, I guess I'll have to go buy it because I know people are going to want to know what my take is on it. And the number of viewers I would get will probably make up for the cost of that starter set. So, but no, I'm not going to have to. Yay. Chris Lundgren says, I wonder what Jeff's parents think all his gaming hobby stuff. Chris's mom is 91, thinks that they need to grow up and do adult things. They are 59 years old. My parents have no issue with it whatsoever. My mom has actually played some games. My dad played a game of Carcassonne with us one time at my brother's house, and he thought it was fine. But no, nobody gives me any grief. But you got to realize too that, this is also my business. Oh, so they understand that too. And seeing that I have other responsibilities, my hands are kind of tied on what I can do. So there is that. There is that. Chris Lundgren asks, what about RPGs? Do they get it? Yeah, they understand what role-playing games are. They understand it. My mom is a big fan of like The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit and those kind of movies, all the Marvel movies. She really enjoys those. My dad, nah, he doesn't watch that stuff. But, you know, they understand it. It's, you know, it's people getting together, telling stories, just having a storytelling game. But I look at it this way. As long as you take care of your adult responsibilities, how you spend your free time, how you enjoy your free time, shouldn't really be anybody else's business. Now, I'm not saying anything about your mom, Chris. I'm just saying that's how I look at it. So if you were 70 years old, and I know people who are older than I am, not that I'm that old. I am old, though. But I know people in their 60s who are big video gamers. So they have PlayStation 5s. They have PCs that are all, you know, jumped up and hyped up on, you know, the latest graphic cards. And when like a big new generation graphic card comes out, they're right away running off to go buy a new laptop and stuff. So, yeah, I mean, you know, like I said, I look at it this way. If somebody likes to sit around reading books in their free time, awesome. That's fantastic. I enjoy reading. I don't have as much, you know, time to read as I used to. That's why I listen to audiobooks, because I get to kind of, you know, get to juggle things at one time. But no, it's not the same as reading. But if somebody likes to read, or they like to watch movies, or they binge television shows, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. It's their business. It's however they want to entertain themselves. Like my mom watches tons and tons of Murder, She Wrote. I think by now everybody's figured out that Jessica Fletcher is the murderer, because death follows her like a stink. But I don't say anything to her. She doesn't have cable or anything like that, but that's, you know, that's her choice. So she's fine with free TV. Troy Cornelson is with us, as is 245. I think I said hello to 245 Trioxin. 245 Trioxin says, Mom, Jeff said shove it. Say that. Max Apocalypse is also with us. PC's all hopped up on goofballs. W4 asks, what do I think of the practice of cat juggling? I think if you're a professional like Steve Martin, I don't have an issue with it. Amateurs, well, then there's a problem. Chris Lundgren says, do you think people as us growing arts age will be playing role-playing games in senior centers and board and cares? I have heard of some assisted living places where people do play Dungeons and Dragons. So I also understand, you know, there are some board games out there that we consider to be part of our hobby that people in, you know, retirement communities tend to play. So yeah, it's, I gotta say, a lot of hobbies out there keep you young at heart. So that is another reason why I love this hobby, is because, you know, I go to Gen Con and I'm walking around Gen Con. I don't feel old. After I've walked around all day, I sure as hell feel old. But being there doesn't make me feel old. DB says at their mom's residence, they all play cards still. Devil worshippers. Yeah, I think that would probably be the problem with D&D in like a like a retirement home or something like that, you would probably have a handful of people who'd be like, I remember that from the 1970s and 80s. It's satanic. But yeah, I'm sure it would all depend on the residents. Okay. So tonight we are going to dive on in and we're going to be taking a peek at Fateforge, Chronicles of Kaan. I'm trying to keep the glare to a minimum here. So we're going to be diving on into that. But first, I think it's time for a brief intermission.
That's $65 for a cup of Wilkins coffee?
$65?
You want me to go in there looking like a bum?
Was a man so gentle and kindly that the sight of cruelty and violence cut him like a whip. Transformed in one fantastic night into the graveyard ghoul whose claws were clenched with the wild, uncontrollable urge to kill.
Now, Hannah, who was it you saw?
It was too dark to see properly. He was more like a beast than a human being.
A man with the appetites of a monster. All human passions twisted by the same strange obsession that turned his face into a hideous mask of cruelty.
It was the same man, the very same man. I tell you that if you brought me face to face with him now, it was the Haymarket Strangler.
Body and soul, torn by the battle between good and evil, running amok in a reign of terror that paralyzed a city with fright.
And now, on with the show.
The big screams are on the big screen. So Chris Lundgren is riling up chat by claiming that Captain Pike from Strange New Worlds is better than James Tiberius Kirk. That's a maybe. That is a maybe. I have not watched the last season, and well, I got through the first 1.5 seasons of Strange New Worlds. Then I kind of fell off. I was like, yeah. It's like, it's all right. So, but Chris says there's talk of bringing back a Captain Archer series. You know what? I thought Enterprise was pretty good. I really did. Yeah, okay. Yeah, sometimes it was like, all right. Do we have to throw this fan service in here, please? Like, come on. 245 Trioxin says, the Orville is the best Trek. Yeah, gotta say, kind of agree with you on that. I watched every episode of The Orville. Sorry to say, looks like it's over, though. Oh, well. Alrighty, then. So tonight, we're going to dive on in and take a first look at Fateforge Chronicles of Kaan. Yes, I know, the Kaan in chat kind of got everybody into the Star Trek mood. But this is K-A-A-N, not K-H-A-N. This is from Mighty Boards. I do believe this is based on a role-playing game from Studio Agate, the French game company. I think they're still out of France. And of course, Mighty Boards is out of Malta, amazingly enough. Now, this game is for 1 to 4 players, ages 14 and up. Plays in around an hour per episode because I do believe this is episodic. Does carry an MSRP of $89. Swing on over to the other camera because here I've got Fateforge Chronicles of Kaan. And I will mention that the fine folks over at Mighty Boards were kind enough to provide me with this review copy, but neither I nor anyone else affiliated with the gaming gang has received any other sort of compensation for me to share this coverage with you. It is important for you to know that. All right, let's get the shrink wrap off of here. The Nice Tower, who are they? To be honest, there are a lot of like seals of excellence and things like that out there. Most of them are just nonsense. But I have to say, with the Dice Tower Seal of Excellence, I think that still really does mean something. That they haven't completely sold out or anything like that. The reality is, I have never played a game that had the Dice Tower Seal of Excellence that I did not like. So there is that. All right, let's take a look at the back here. You have come from a distant land to the wondrous capital of an ascendant empire. Among spies, shapeshifters, assassins, and the restless dead, you are strangers. The immortal emperor has eyes and ears in every shadow. His grasp reaches for your homeland, and sinister designs are being woven in secret. Couldn't really make that out. The path you blaze and the choices you make could forge the fate of all the lands of Kaan. Fateforge Chronicles of Kaan is a co-op action adventure for 1 to 4 players. Easy to learn and set up. The game can be played in sessions ranging from 60 minutes to as long as you like. The 30-plus hours campaign features an evolving rule set that is unlocked as you progress through the story. Kind of like a legacy game. Fateforge blends the fast-paced action of a video game with the rich narrative of a fantasy novel. The combat mimics cinematic fight scenes with its innovative fast-paced system that allows for a multitude of character builds. The map exploration and story scenes will draw you into a rich world inhabited by characters that react to your actions and greatly influence how the branching story unfolds. Whether you win or lose a combat, the story adapts and takes you down a different path, eventually resulting in a variety of possible endings. I should mention, there are also 2 expansions that are available for Fateforge. I don't know if they are completely new campaigns. WForge says Studio Agate made the Fateforge role-playing game free in PDF after the open game license fiasco. All right. DB says they have a seal of competence. You take what you can get. Max Apocalypse says the seal of mediocrity was cut from the show at the aquarium. All right. All right, come on, Bucks. You can do it. There we go. All right, so we have the game catalog. We have the role-playing game, so there you go. We have got some stickers. A first-time setup. So we'll take a peek at that. It looks like we've got a map, a rule book. I believe that these are going to be used as shields to hide stuff behind. It's like we've got some baggies. That's kind of cool. A couple more of these. Yeah, I was going to say that was kind of weird. Being for 4 players and only at the 2, I was like, oh, okay. I will point out that we do have the autofocus going for us on the Panasonic tonight. Let's hope it behaves. So we got some little boxes to put together. Yeah, there's card tuck boxes. We've got that. Looks like there's quite a bit in here. I think there's miniatures in here too. All right. So what we will do is we will move this over. Try to get that out of the way a little bit. So here we've got first time setup. Welcome to your first game of Fateforge Chronicles of Kaan. To make your experience as smooth as possible, please follow this first time setup sheet to prepare yourself for your first campaign. So I've got our hero setup. Game comes with 5 heroes. Each is represented by a hero board, a miniature, and a hero box. So we at least have a little variety. So we've got the hero boards, hero boxes, health and energy tokens. Looks like they're cubes. I wonder if we have a elevated board or a cut board for the cubes to sit in. So we've got combat dice, player ordered tiles. So I guess maybe those are going to be kind of initiative. Skill cards. Place one empty plastic Ziploc bag into each hero box. Okay. All right. Party setup. So there's a party box, party tokens. So there is a miniature for the party. It looks like the one box is a bunch of cards, fear cards, trap cards, corruption cards. Here's how you store the game. Looks like there is a lot of stuff in this box. So we have 36 double-sided tiles. They are combat map tiles. We have combat tokens, enemy tokens in boxes. So I think those are the smaller boxes we were looking at there. Some other dice, other cubes, gems, food, and time tokens. And there's a companion app. And I do believe you must have the app in order to play. If you do not have the app, you will not be able to play. That is my understanding. Because I had asked when you may have caught my interview with the fine folks over at Mighty Boards at Gen Con. So here is a map. I think this is of the city. And just single-sided. That's cool. That looks pretty nice. Remember, I know pretty much absolutely nothing about this game. So here's the rule book. It says, the game contains 3 types of scenes. During story scenes, you'll proceed through the narrative of the adventure, exploring Asaphir, taking a wild guess on that, and its surroundings, interacting with characters and factions who remember your words and actions, and testing your abilities in challenges you encounter. Combat scenes are the action-packed heart of the game. The game will regularly zoom into scenes where you will try to complete a number of objectives in just a few rounds, all while being pitted against a variety of enemies. Combat is done through a set of dice, each one representing an action that will be modified through a set of comboable skills. You'll need to collaborate with the rest of your party and each use your hero's abilities to their full potential. But that's not all. You will also need to avoid as much damage as possible, as you only recover a small amount of health after each combat scene. Also make sure to stock up on food and or health potions, as you will only be able to heal once every 2 or 3 combats. Finally, rest scenes will allow you to heal, buy equipment, and learn new skills by visiting locations in and around Asaphir. Each rest scene is allotted a different amount of time for you to spend as you like as the campaign progresses, and depending on who you talk to and which locations you visit, you will unlock new side quests and rest locations that allow you to develop your hero in different ways. May the wisdom of the forest guide your way. So it's talking about the app, our components, campaign structure, our first campaign. So here's our heroes. These are the hero boards. Yes, it looks like these will have receded areas for you to drop stuff into. That's cool. We have traits, which will influence tests during the game. Having a trait matching a test type will make that test easier. There's our combat dice pool. As the game progresses, you'll get the opportunity to add more dice to your hero's dice pool. However, you will still only ever roll a maximum of 4 dice in each combat round, unless a card or effect in the game indicates otherwise. So there are reroll icons. So it means that the associated die can be re-rolled once during the preparation of a combat round. Note that while in combat scene, re-rolls can only be used during the preparation phase. Health and energy skills. Head chopper. So the skills have skill cost, got skill effects, items, item costs, item use, weapons. We got our combat maps and tokens. So we have a start spot and exit spot objectives. Now, you might recall Mighty Boards were the designers of Vengeance, which I had reviewed. It was released by way of Greenbrier Games. And the big selling point for that game was the combat. And it was kind of like, you know, you were playing through a revenge movie. It was actually pretty cool. I think Mighty Boards actually offers kind of a streamlined version of it now. So we've got enemies. We have white minions, blue minions, red minions, and green, as well as brown and purple. So we have an enemy action band. Toughness, armor. So we've got the combat round. So we have the preparation phase. Allows you to roll combat dice, determine player order, and discuss your strategy for the upcoming fight. The game requires the heroes to work as a team. In each round, it's important to discuss a strategy, such as which hero will do what that turn. You cannot, however, show or explicitly discuss die results during this phase. W. Forge says, when it comes to games, the more they overthink the plumbing, the easier it is to stop up the drain. As far as apps with games, the reason why I'm not necessarily a fan is at some point that app is not going to be supported anymore. So if you, like, say you've got an iPhone or you've got an Android phone, you're going to eventually get to the point where you will have updates that will eventually break the app. And once that happens, you're kind of stuck. So that's one of the reasons why I usually frown on apps with games, especially ones that force you to use the app, that you must have the app. So, all right, Chris Lundgren is calling it a night. Good to see you, Chris. See you next time. All right, so we've got the preparation phase. We got the action phase. And we have the cleanup phase. Looks like we got an example of the combat scene. So we have combat success or failure. I wouldn't be surprised if the combat is very similar to Vengeance. It's got combat rules: stun, push and pull, randomization. We have story scenes with tests. The app will also track your hero's reputation. So I can kind of see some cool things with the app too, because remember, it's supposed to remember your actions so that you'll have various different, obviously, reactions from different factions, probably different NPCs as the game continues along. So we have our time token, rest locations, card management. As you play the campaign, you'll be taking cards from the unlock box. You'll keep some of these cards and remove others from play after use. The cards and tokens you have in play in front of you or in your skill deck are saved in your hero box or the party box between sessions. Talking about saving your campaign. The game makes it easy to save your progress both in the app and through the physical components. In the party box, store the party's shared components like gems in your story deck. When you're ready to play again, give each player their hero board and corresponding hero box and place shared components nearby within reach of all players. So maybe the hero cards go in that little baggie. So we've got battle mode. We have rule unlocks. So as we're playing, we'll have new rules pop up. And we got a glossary. I got to say, I am intrigued. So that is the rule book. 28 pages, but plenty of illustrations. And it looked like we had a good amount of examples there too. So here are the screens. Oh, see, funny enough, I would have thought maybe there would be like a reference on one side. I got to say, I like the artwork. The artwork's cool. I think these are the monster boxes. And I believe this is showing the different tokens that we need to put in each of these boxes. And they are different. So it looks like we've got quite a lot of different creatures, monsters. I can guess we probably have some NPCs in here too. This is the baggie that we have 4 of these. Oh no, actually we have 5. Maybe the party box gets one. So here are the hero boxes. That might be the monster box. This is probably the party box. Okay. So in this, yikes. This has cards in it. Yeah. That's what it's got. And it looks like we've got some dividers here too. So those are smaller cards. Those are like items and stuff. I think that's like a condition card. Bigger cards. All right. I'm not going to mess around with. Hopefully the autofocus is behaving. Fingers crossed on that. Okay, so let's see. We're not going to take a look at all the cards. I just want to get an idea here. So, decent thickness. They do have a nice finish on them too. Oh, I see we've got card numbers on this. W4 says, why does the box look dirty? That is just what it's supposed to look. It's supposed to look beaten up. So that is the printing on it. It is not actually dirty. So yes, so these cards all have numbers to them. Funny enough, I think 407 should go there. Just take a peek at a few of these. The Nobleman, Imperial Guard. I gotta say, this looks really wild. No joke. This could be really, really cool. I've also seen people talking about how the combat really sets this game apart. So we got Veteran Spearman, Elite Executioner. Like I said, I like the artwork quite a bit too. The Acolyte, who's a cultist. Got some undead. Whole bunch there. And then, see, what I'm kind of curious about here is the size of these cards next to this box. Okay, so all right, come on. See, that's why I was worried about cards starting to fall down. Yeah, it should be like that. So these are our character decks, it looks like. That's what the artwork looks like. So Beyond the Grave, Heavy Strike, Charge 2. Okay. And then looks like we have equipment items here. Maybe these are encounters. Huh. Once again, these are all numbered here too. Then we get these smaller cards. Oh, these are items like weapons. Steel short sword. A rapier. An ancient blade. Wow. Pretty wild. Okay. So are they gonna close enough, I guess. Let's see what we got here. So more of those kind of item cards. Like I said, it looks like we've got conditions here. Aren't just different things going on. So collapsing roof, poison dart. Looks like these might be for injuries, exhaustion, loss of control, limbs of lead. Okay. And then maybe these are magic spells. Could be energy boost, insight, perception. This is a pretty wild mix here. There's a master tailor. Very nice. Very nice. Okay. I'm going to put these into here. As well as those. And then we got these dividers. And it's got a magnet, so it snaps closed. So that's very cool. We got more stuff to take a peek at here. This is pretty heavy. I'm going to guess this is our dice and our cubes and stuff. Yep, there we go. There's our dice. And more dice and another deck of cards. That's pretty wild. So we have yellow, blue, red, and green are our combat dice. Looks like we got some black dice. I'm going to guess these are probably for our enemies. We have some gray dice too. Mark Hawkswell's with us in chat. Good to see you once again, Mark. Said they like magnets with box lids. Yeah, I like these too. I think that's kind of cool. All right. So we got those. It's like we have some player aid cards. We got our hero boards too. So yes, this looks like these are our player aids. So it's got our icons as well as our combat round phases. Read before starting the campaign. So it's a letter. That's pretty cool. We have a tracker here. Nice. Okay, and then we've got our hero boards. So these are cut out. Look like you would maybe put cards in here. Or maybe your dice. Maybe you put your dice in here. So we got the Forest Guard, the Mercenary, the Rogue, the Shaman, and the Nobleman. Well, and nice and thick. Nice and thick here. Got a bunch of tokens. So these are all our baddies, no doubt. And we have some, I think, some informational tokens. So like these are for time. And these are nice and thick. Wow, these are super thick. I was thinking there were two of them together, but it's not. That is one punch board. Wow. Pretty cool. All right, so we got those. Got these. We got some cats. I'm guessing these are some big bads right there. Right? So we got these punch boards. We have miniatures. I like how it's got all these like inserts to fit stuff together. Okay, so here are our cubes and our gems. There we go. And then the other one has our minis, I betcha. Yep, here we go. We've got our hero miniatures. Let's see if the autofocus will behave well enough. Let's get a closer look. Decent plastic, not real soft. And yes, no, maybe, no. All right, come on. See, I think it's because we've got too much stuff out here. So that is our archer. I think this is our noble. There's actually 6. Oh yeah, that's right. Because we have our party miniature right here. This is our mercenary. Our shaman. Nice detail on these. Sorry, the autofocus doesn't want to behave. There we go. Actually, I don't think I can close this box if they're sitting in there. I have to lay them all down. So yeah, very nice. Okay. So these go together like this and then go back into this. What else we got? We have an envelope, a sealed envelope, so we're not opening that. That has something to do with the progress of the game. We have our combat tiles, as well as, looks like these are maps. I think we're supposed to lay out tiles 27, 28 through 32. Then we have 33 through 38, actually. I think. I'm not sure if we're supposed to punch this because these are cut. Weird. Well, we'll find out. We are going to find out. I'll tell you that much. All right. Let's see what we've got here with the combat tiles. These look really cool. And the way these combat tiles are, this does look like it's using a combat system similar to Vengeance, because you're going room to room in Vengeance. I remember that. So you didn't have like squares or hexes or anything like that. It was, this is a room, that's a room. That's kind of cool. So there it looks like we've got a crypt. I'm telling you right now, this is a pretty impressive game for $89.99. I mean, we've seen some games for, going for about $100 in that has nothing near this amount of content. Plus, the game's supposed to take about 30 hours or more to complete. Definitely like these tiles. These look really cool. It almost appears like there's a bit of kind of a Middle Eastern flavor to the characters and the design style. Okay, so here we've got some outdoor tiles. And as you can see, nice and thick. These will hold up nicely. And we've got two more. We got this one with a fountain. It's like a sewer entrance. It's like some pools. And a well. Very nice. All right. So we've got all of these punch boards. We've got the mysterious envelope. We also have the letter you're supposed to read when you start the game. We have this tracker here. We've got more punch boards with the enemies as well as our hero boards. We've got our miniatures and our gems and all that stuff. We've got the dice. We've got all of those different cards. Bet you these are supposed to go like this. No? Oh, yeah. Maybe. We're going to find out. No. Something's not fitting right. Bet you it's this. Oh, although those do look square. Well, if it doesn't fit, I'll figure it out. There we go. That was it. So we got all these different boxes. We have our baggies, more boxes, some stickers. The screens for the players, our map, our first time setup, as well as our rules. So that is everything from Fateforge, Chronicles of Kaan. I take everything outside the box. I guess the gang is going to dive on into this and check this out very shortly. So probably going to take a little bit for me to get my review out, but stay tuned. This looks really, really impressive. I'm excited to check this out. Once again, this is Fateforge Chronicles of Kaan from Mighty Boards. It is for 1 to 4 players, ages 14 and up. It is episodic, so you can play each episode. Should take about an hour once you get the hang of the rules. It does carry an MSRP of $89. Sweet. All righty then. So on tomorrow's show, we are going to dive on in and we're going to take a look at the Wild Sea from MythWorks. I've heard really good things about this. This has won some awards, I do believe. And my good friend T.S. Lukehart from Cubicle 7 Games saw that I had this review copy in my stack of stuff that I was carrying with me. And he said, this is excellent. So I trust T.S. Lucart's opinion. So we're going to take a look at that on tomorrow's show. All right, that is it for this time out. If you were watching live, thank you very much. If you watched live and took part in chat, big tip of the cap and a bigger thank you, because not only are you keeping me company, you're also keeping each other company while I'm doing the news or unboxing a game and taking a peek at different stuff. So it is much appreciated. But of course, I know a lot of folks out there, they don't have an opportunity to watch live. Doesn't matter if you're watching live or on Memorex. Thank you for taking time out to watch any of the over 2,300 videos here on the channel. Yes, over 2,300 videos. Yikes. If you like the video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, don't forget, ring that bell, because it'll not only let you know when the Dispatch streams live, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday evenings at 7 p.m. Central. It'll also let you know when I share other videos, such as my recent review of Rivers of London in Liberty Shadow from Chaosium Inc. Very, very cool. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Once again, I'm Jeff McAleer, and as I always like to say, I certainly hope each and every one of you gets to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang.